Hi, it's Filo, welcome back! Today I'll be setting up January in my bullet journal and I'll be testing these colored pencils Arrtx sent me to review. The package is divided in two boxes, which is a bit confusing at first when you have to lift the lid. I almost dropped everything at first, but the pencils are very nice with little stars and the casing matches the pigmented core. Though I'm not a big fan of the tiny gold font for the color codes, hard to read if, like me, you're not 20 anymore. But then I did a swatch of all 126 pens and I'm very pleased with the intensity of the colors, the range of colors. It's very well balanced with a few neons even. As always, I leave the links where you can find those pencils, and I'm not an affiliate, but they do have a Christmas discount right now on their website. So now let's set up January and put them to the test. One of the pros of using colored pencils is that you can do gradients, so I went with colorful bonsais against the sunset. I'm starting with a twisty trunk using only straight lines. I tried curvy lines in my sketchbook at first, but it didn't look dramatic enough, so straight lines. For the vegetation, I just doodle wavy kind of clouds in clusters at different heights. Not as bubbly as clouds, more loosely wavy lines. Then I add the branches, again with straight lines in a zigzag, almost horizontal towards the trunk. I'm adding more vegetation on the ground, but you could do visible roots if you want. Then the sun will be setting behind, and to give the trunk a volume and more of a curvy shape, I'm adding a few knots and waves following the direction of the twists. Now, if you've watched my setup for 2025, you've seen that I've used warm and bright colors to match my new notebook. And I want to keep on using bright color palettes for now. So since it's winter, I chose bright blues for the bonsai and a warm yellow and orangey red for the sunset. I'm starting with a very light layer just to place the colors, prepare the paper, and honestly build confidence, because I'm really not an expert with colored pencils. Okay, I don't own other good brands, so I can't compare Arrtx with those in that sense. I'm a true beginner. The only colored pencils I owned previously are big. I find them hard to layer, and even then the colors look a bit dull and the texture feels waxy, so I thought I didn't like colored pencils before, but actually recently I've learned a lot from Emrulo Art here on YouTube on how colored pencils should look and how to use them, and she's a great inspiration and a great teacher, by the way. And I have to say, I'm rediscovering colored pencils with her, and thanks to Arrtx. Here I can build a smooth gradient layer by layer. I get a strong color easily. It's super satisfying. So my advice would be, don't rush it. If you try and get the most intensity in one go, applying more pressure from the start, then it's going to look streaky because you'll never apply an even pressure everywhere. So you're going to have a hard time correcting it and getting a smooth, uniform finish. So take your time. About the color palette, if you look at a color wheel, you'll see blue and orange are opposite. So that means that they're complementary colors, and when you use them together, they really enhance each other and you get a higher contrast and more vibrant colors. So Januaries are usually my least favorite themes of the year, but this year I'm so happy with these colors. And you can adapt this theme to any season with any color you like, because they're magical bonsais, so every color looks great on them. I did a few tests, I'll put them here on the screen. It's true that coloring with colored pencils takes more time than coloring with markers. I filmed this video in 4 hours instead of my usual 3, but you get beautiful gradients. And I mean, look at those colors, they're really bright, like way more intense than the ones in my yearly setup. And those were already bright. So it's definitely worth the extra time, though I wouldn't use them every month in my Bujo, but I'm already using them all I can in my sketchbook. But back to the cover. For the trunk, I went for a cold brown to match the blue, and black for the holes, a few details, but you could skip that, and little stars for the magic. Finally, I didn't want the title to distract from the illustration, so I wrote January in small, separate, bold letters, and I love it. I think it was a good move. Moving on to the monthly spread, and I'm starting with the calendar in the middle of the spread. In January, I plan on posting my reading journal update with the books I read in November and December because I'm running a bit late. Then I'll post my reading journal flip through of the whole year, and lastly, a bullet journal theme for February. Here I wrote the days with the same font as the cover, and for the header I wrote January in calligraphy to make it bigger and take all the space. At the bottom, I have my usual social media trackers that you can replace with your goals tracker if you want. And I'm doodling bonsais all around the page, adapting their shapes to the space I have. On the right, I have 2 more sections, one for my priorities or things I want to stay focused on, and another to keep track of the books I'll read this month. I wanted to keep the same color palette along the whole theme, but I also didn't want to just end up with the exact same illustration over and over again, so here I simply inverted them. Instead of the blue bonsai and the orange sunset, I did the opposite, an orange bonsai with a blue moon in the background. That's a concept I really enjoy somehow. I like doing that in my sketchbook, like on one page I will have an illustration in a daylight version, and then in front of that I'll do a nighttime version or things like that. It's fun! It's an easy way to change things up and play with your color palette, see what combination you like best. Now, I thought that when I would color the left page, I would have an imprint of my cover on the previous page. Maybe it's damp, I don't know, but I even placed a blank page behind this one just to see what happened, and there's nothing, not a trace. All the pigment stayed in place in the paper, as it should. I can run my hand over it, it doesn't stain it or smudge. I appreciate that. And then I even did a gradient for the wicks. Might be slightly overkill, but I was so invested at this point. I was really having a good time, and coloring is just so relaxing. On to the trackers, and I'm starting with my habit trackers on the left page with a calendar for each habit, and now I'm grouping my habits. I've put that idea to the test with my workout tracker in previous months. So I cross the days I work out and I put a circle for the days I go on a good walk. So basically I use different keys in the same calendar because I won't do both on the same day. That's not realistic for me, at least for now. And I don't want to end up with 2 half-empty trackers. That's not encouraging. And psychologically, the fuller the tracker, the nicer it feels. But it also has to be practical and realistic. So this will save me from setting up more trackers, and it will also give me more details on my habits. For example, I'll use different keys for the type of content I post or my painting practice. And here I was writing my header backwards to make sure it was centered, and I messed it up. So I just did it on another piece of paper and pasted it on top. It's a quick fix. It's not seamless, but it works. Starting here, I took the liberty to edit and speed up the coloring process because by now you know how that works, so let's not get bored. On the right page, I'll have my meal planner. It's a table with full weeks as usual. So here we're starting December 2nd and ending January 2nd and ending January 29th. There's no space for a big illustration, so it's just a branch coming from the side. On to the first weekly of the year, and I usually post shorts for the remaining weeklies, but I don't plan on doing that this month just because I won't be filming and editing during the holidays, but I'll be back in January with long due reading journal updates and my reading journal flip through of the whole year. And then I'll be posting weekly shorts again with my February setup. But for the first week of the year, I'm going with a horizontal layout and a mini calendar on the top left, always keeping an eye on the whole month and what's coming up. I'm including Monday and Tuesday, even though they're technically December, because I always do full weeks. And anyway, I don't think I'll do much on December 30th and 31st, but here they are in case I need them. I'm using my clear stamps for the days and dates. I love this font. It's simple and fun, and I think it matches a bright and colorful theme like this one. Finally, I'm cutting the pages on the right to create Dutch doors because, as I said, I'll have limited time to set up each week, so I'm just making my life a little bit easier in advance. And that's it for today. Here is the final flip through of this January bullet journal setup with magical bonsais. Thank you so much to Arrtx for your colored pencils. I had a blast and I learned a lot. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this theme. If you want more inspiration, I leave all my January setups linked below. If you've made it till the end, leave me this emoji and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. I wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and I'll see you soon in the next one. And until then, enjoy planning!